welcome to the second review of the evening. A game called The Last Dead End. It builds itself as an adventure game with the elements of FPS and horror. Like, while it is partially an FPS, well, a first-person game, I'm not sure how much of a shooter this is.
I admittedly I did not get very far into. There are enemies and bosses, and there are a couple of like combat like side modes.
Right, but this
certainly
is also
more of the thing that I've been playing has been adventure horror than stuff where you can actually do any actual fighting.
Right. This is also in the third person. And this game comes to us from an interesting corner of the world. I think this is the first game I can think of that is from Azerbaijan.
Yes, it is from Azerbaijan. It is set in the old city of Baku, which is the capital of Azerbaijan. And this game was at least partially funded by the Azerbaijan Ministry of, I want to say Youth and Sport or something. So there's a lot of, the setting is interesting. There's an in-game encyclopedia with a lot of interesting things about that. Unfortunately, the game design is not there.
Right. Also worth noting, like, this is also the first game I can think of that centers around the religion of Zoroastrianism.
Yeah, that's another. I think Zoroastrianism is cool. So, to give you an idea of it, well, some of the problems are because I was playing the Switch version, which does not seem like a good conversion. The controls are super awkward and don't allow touchscreen controls. I actually tried because I wanted to. So, for example, in the encyclopedia menu where you can look up characters and facts and locations and stuff, there's no actual way to get over to the facts tab, because if you hold in that direction from one of the other tabs, you go over to the text scroll thing, which you have to manually move the controller over to the thing where you can scroll down the text. So it's really hard to find some of the encyclopedia entries once they're in there. And the texture pop-in is really bad on the Switch. And from what I'm seeing on the Steam thing, it looks like the lighting is significantly better on the Steam version. Like the lighting engine works better on Steam. So overall, I would recommend against playing the Switch version and try one of the other ones. But also just a lot of the text and voice dialogue in the game is clearly written by people who, or at least the English version, is clearly written by people for whom English is not their first language, and a lot of the voice acting is voice acted by people for whom English is not their first language. Like, the voice acting isn't terrible, but the dialogue is weird. And sometimes they have weird emphasis on stuff because they don't know quite how to say stuff. Also, just the level design is... I get that it's placed on a real place, but level design is not good. It's there are oddly placed and awkward you can't go this way things like rows or traffic cones or signs or stuff. There are a lot of people you can't interact with or talk to that are just there as set dressing when you're in the normal world. There is the system of where to go next. It gives you like a waypoint thing that generally hovers somewhere around the edge of the screen and gives you a countdown distance of how to get to a place, but it doesn't actually, or it tells you a countdown distance of how far you are from a place, but from the next waypoint, but it doesn't actually give you useful information about which way to go to get there. So you'll be wandering around trying to find the right alley or hallway to actually get to where you're going. And the cutscenes are, I mean, the fact that the acting is bad and the text is awkward really detracts from it a lot, which is kind of unfortunate because some of the spooky bits, I mean, at least one of the scares is just a cheap jump scare, but some of the stuff like shrubbery on the sides of the path turning into large patches of hands growing out of red ground was actually pretty creepy. So if you were into that, that might be cool. But unfortunately, it just there's a lot of really awkward stuff, which is kind of a shame because I was actually kind of interested in the concept of the game, at least. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh yeah, and you have a weird overlay on your. If you click the left stick, that gives you a battery for, I think, the computer in your glasses, which is used for decrypting some of the text in the game, and also, but I don't know everything that if it doesn't much else, and also I'm not sure if the batteries get recharged or what, or if there's a something that happens if it goes down. And I think that's the battery for the glasses because you get a flashlight, and I never like ran out of or particularly saw a battery for that. Though a lot of the areas in the game, especially on the Switch version, are extremely dark, so maybe they're just being kind there so that you can actually see what you're doing. Because I guess since they're trying to be realistic, they don't like put light sources that aren't actually there. Maybe, I don't know. Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say. I kind of wanted to like it when I was looking up the premise and stuff, but the play experience and the level design is just really gets in the way of your enjoyment. So if you want to try it on something other than the Switch.
Right. Um, Worth noting the pricing. It is $9.99 on the Nintendo Switch. It is $7.99 on Steam.
I think the Switch version is actually a couple of version numbers ahead currently, but I don't know why.
Probably because it came out or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, there's also like a multiplayer survival mode that has a couple of different combat centered things, but I didn't expect those to be particularly good, and I wanted to at least see if I could find something to recommend in the main story.
okay. And yeah, anything else?
Not really.
All right, so that'll about do it for the last dead end here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Vera Blank Full Moon.